Hi, hello, uh, viewers. I have great pleasure in bringing you a video lecture on job analysis and job design. As people interested in human resource management comprises of handling the various jobs that are performed in organizations, whether the organizations are public or private. Job is something like a building brick of the human resource management. Therefore, in this lecture, we shall try to understand what a job is firstly. Second, how to analyze the jobs. We have to analyze the jobs to design them properly. So, how we design the jobs? So, these are three interconnected things we are going to discuss today. Job analysis is a detailed examination of three things: the tasks that make up a job. Every job comprises of certain tasks. Say a police constable, his job comprises of crime control, crime detection, traffic regulation. These are examples of tasks. So, all the tasks that a police constable perform together form something, and we have to understand what is the composite of all these things. This is one. Every job is performed under certain conditions. Say for example, a traffic constable will be standing at busy crossroads regulating the stop. So, that is the condition in which he is working. A teacher may be working in the classroom, that is the condition. A soldier on the borders may be performing his duties under very inauspicious conditions, inhospitable conditions. So, these are conditions that are enabling or troubling the person from performing the job. So, these are the second component of job analysis. We have to analyze the task, we have to analyze the conditions under which a person performs jobs, and thirdly, there are the requirements for a job. Now, to perform each job, there are certain requirements. For example, to perform a teacher job, one should have good memory, one should have the linguistic skills, you should have sufficient voice, clarity of voice. So, these are certain things that are required of a teacher. So, like this, every job that is performed in the government or a public organization has certain requirements. So, what are these requirements? So, consideration of all these things, analyzing, maybe understanding what are the tasks, what are the conditions, and what are the job requirements. This together is known as job analysis. And the job requirements are things like the knowledge that one requires, the skills one is supposed to have, the educational qualifications one should be having, and also the physical working conditions. So, all these together form what are known as the job requirements. Now, we come to a very important question as to what a job is. Basically, job analysis or job design hinge around the job. Job, as I said, is the building block of the human resource management. A job is a group of or a set of homogeneous tasks. Homogeneous tasks means tasks which have some similarity and which require similar functions. When performed by an employee in exchange for pay or some other gratification, it comprises of duties, responsibilities and tasks. There are the job is defined as one which is accomplishable. A person should be in a position to accomplish, that is first quality of a job. Second, the job is one which can be quantified, which means which can be measured, and also a job is one which can be rated. So, job can be rated as first class performance, average performance or low performance, below poor performance. Like this, if you have the possibility of rating them, this is yet another condition to make something a job. So, therefore, a job is something which is accomplishable, quantifiable, measurable and rateable. From a wider perspective, a job is synonymous with a role. Sometimes we use the word, what is the role you are playing here. So, job is somewhat comparable to role, and it includes physical and social aspects of the work environment. Now, every job, more so in the government, there are not only the physical aspects that enable a job to be performed, there are also the social aspects, the social conditions. One should understand these social conditions to perform the job effectively. These limit the performance or enhance the performance. Now, we come to some definitions of the terms of what a job is. One of the eminent authorities on human resource management, Dale Yoder, has defined a job as a collection of duties, tasks and responsibilities which are assigned to an individual and which is different from other assignments. So, each job is supposed to be distinct from other jobs. So, if other job is also like this job, so they come under one job category only. So, it can't be a distinct job. So, a distinct job is one which has its own identity and which is also different from others. There are 5 aspects of a job. Now, job should have autonomy. So, job is one where the person is totally not under the control or command of another person. Of course, there may be a boss, but if boss decides everything, there is no need for a subordinate to exist. So, therefore, the first element of a job is autonomy. The second, the job should be such that it should enable feedback. Feedback is knowing good or bad the way it is performed. Now, a job also means a skill variety. So, it must have its own skill, identifiable skill, may or may not have. There are certain jobs which are not so much skilled, there may be unskilled jobs, and the task identity. So, each task must be identifiable, and the task significance. A job comprises of the tasks that are significant, not insignificant. You see, insignificant means valueless. So, thus autonomy, feedback, skill variety, task identity and task significance are important aspects of what constitutes a job. Now, we come to a few definitions of one of the important topics that we are discussing, namely job analysis. There is one writer called Wiley. He defines job analysis in terms of what it deals with. It deals with anatomy of the job. As a medical student or a doctor deals with the anatomy of the human body, a job analyst or job analysis process involves anatomy of the job. So, anatomy of the job means what are the internal components of the job, how they are performed, what is their structure, what is their shape, what is their interrelationship, all such things comprise what job analysis is. Michael Jusis, who gives yet another definition, says it refers to the process of studying the operations, duties, organizational aspects of job in order to derive specification leading to job description. So, what it says is job analysis is the process and the job description is the goal of it. What it conveys is that job analysis is done only to describe the job. Finally, after analyzing the job, the end point of this job analysis is job description. So, what the job looks like, what are the qualities required, what are the conditions under which it is performed, what are the tasks mentioned there. So, what is the significance of these tasks, all these things putting together, we arrive at something known as job description. So, therefore, this definition says that the objective of job analysis is job description, and why at all we need to describe the jobs is, so to control the jobs, to measure the performance of the jobs, to rate the persons who are performing jobs, for all such things, and to take disciplinary action if somebody is not performing good. So, all these are the purposes of job description, which is facilitated by job analysis. Job analysis is an accurate study of the various components of a job. So, it is an accurate study. So, it is not a peripheral study, it is a serious study of various components, and it deals with the duties and conditions of work that are performed and the qualifications also. So, these are some of the important things, and ultimately in job analysis what is very important is there is a study of what the job is, not the person who is doing the job. It is not so much focused on the individual, and the job analysis is an exercise of impersonally working out what are the standard qualifications, what are the standard duties, what are the standard tasks, what are the standard conditions, what are the standard qualifications required for people to perform. So, therefore, it is an impersonal exercise of arriving at all such things. This is what is known as job analysis. One of the coming to the origins of job analysis was initially done in a systematic, cogent way by one expert called Maurice Viteles, Yteles. And in the year 1922, he used job analysis in order to select employees for a trolley car company. And his attempt of doing job analysis resulted in very good selection of employees, and what company required, what they had, there was one-to-one consistency between the requirement and the availability of the people, thanks to the job analysis. The job analysis serves so many purposes. Firstly, to decide whether a job is needed or not. There are instances in government where are some jobs which are redundant, but yet because of human considerations or maybe because of political considerations, some jobs are maintained. I think if you do a proper job analysis, you will arrive at whether the job is purposeful or not. If it is purposeless, I think such jobs can be eliminated and economy can be ensured. So, this is one purpose. The second purpose is what are the physical and mental conditions required to perform the job. Every job requires some physical conditions, some jobs require mental conditions. Of course, every job requires both, but the measure in which these are required might vary from the lower to higher. At the lower level, you will have more of requirements of physical conditions, at higher level more of mental conditions, but all the same every job requires both. But what are these? To determine this, you have to do job analysis. And thirdly, what is the job to be performed? So, what is the role to be performed? What exactly is it? Is it regulating traffic, or is it dispersal of knowledge? Is it conducting census? So, like this there are so many jobs, and arriving at what the job is also the purpose of this. Next important purpose of this is what is the process in which a person performs the job. The process is also important. Sometimes if you perform jobs without knowing the standard process, you may waste lot of labor, you may consume unnecessary resources. So, therefore, to standardize the way things have to be performed, job analysis is needed. And one more aspect of job analysis, the purpose is what are the qualities required and what are the qualifications required. I think in all modern contexts of organizations, public or private, now we go by certain qualifications. Earlier times perhaps no such consideration was there, just it was somebody's decision that somebody is okay for the job, it was all right. But today lot of formal education is there. For each job special courses are there. I think as you look at in the process of economic development, you are having more and more education which is applied oriented. So, certain qualifications are needed. What exactly are these qualifications is one more purpose of undertaking job analysis. In addition to this, the job analysis also helps us in identifying the training needs. Training is a process of reinforcing certain habits or maybe certain tendencies or attitudes, as a result of which the person becomes programmed, and over a period of time he does it like a machine which is started, it will go on working till it is stopped. So, training is such an exercise, and job analysis helps in identifying what kind of qualities or skills have to be injected into a person. So, training need determination is the purpose served by job analysis. One more purpose is compensation. Compensation means salary. So, what level of salary has to be paid? After all, we have to relate salary to the nature of work performed, its importance, its difficulty, or it may be challenge. So, all such things should go into the compensation levels. Of course, in government sometimes in government also a lot of effort might go into having some standard way of fixing compensation. Some pyrevy or some influences are always bound to be there, but still compensation has to be determined on the basis of job analysis. If it is done, you will have proper system of administration. Job analysis also helps selection process. If you know full well about the various aspects of the job, the task, requirements, behavioral, mental, physical. So, if you have those things in your mind, you can select the person who properly fits the job. Otherwise, your decision, if you are not aware of the job analysis or job description, you cannot select the person properly. So, selection procedures are also facilitated by this. And lastly, performance review. Every job holder's performance has to be reviewed. It's in government it is done annually, and this is very important to see, to make sure that what the salary the person is receiving is justified or not, or does he deserve some extra salary because of by virtue of his superior performance. So, this performance review is facilitated by job analysis. As I said, job analysis leads to job description. Once the job description is there, you keep job description before you and then try to see how the individual has performed. You arrive at satisfactory or dissatisfactory performance, not only for hiking or reducing compensation, but also to determine what next should happen. The job analysis, now we understand what is the nature of job analysis, what is its importance, how many good purposes it serves. We have to now understand how at all we do this job analysis. So, for this there are methods. Methods are nothing but perfected tools, perfected ways of doing. And now, one such we have several of them. One is review of job classification. One of the ways in which job analysis is facilitated is grouping jobs. So, in any big organization, take the example of Indian Ministry of Defence, you have lakhs and lakhs of jobs, and they belong to so many categories. Now, in categorization also you understand the nature of job. So, there are 10 categories, but virtually actually in one category there are two divergent set of people performing different things with different qualifications, and therefore, these two deserve to be separated. So, job classification is the first way in which you are analyzing. The second is incumbent interview. Incumbent interview is interview the person who is performing the job, because there is a saying, the wearer of the shoe knows where it pinches. So, therefore, the person who is doing, he knows what are the problems of the job, what are the responsibilities, and what are the real challenges of the job. So, given sincerity and honesty on the part of this person, you get to know what the job is. So, this is one method of knowing the job, and these are all diverse methods, and together you come at a real content of the job description. But these are many different ways, you have to do it in many different ways and arrive at a standard description or design of the job. And the third important method is superior interviews. Every in any organization there is a hierarchy, and every person works under the supervision of a superior. That superior is generally he observes how the person is performing, and he also can understand what the job requires, how it is performed, what are the challenges, what are the difficulties. So, this is one more method of understanding the nature of the job. And then expert panels, not only the supervisors, there are some experts who are repeatedly doing this job. I think in private sector there are lots of industrial consultants, experts who have developed specialization, going around various companies and studying diverse companies, they know it better than the supervisor or the worker. There may be certain better ways of doing, there may be certain better conditions to be created. So, experts is another method. One more method is structured questionnaires. Questionnaire is a series of questions. Now, you develop some number of questions and you circulate it among the persons who are performing the job, and after that you consolidate the data given by them, you come at some picture. This is one more. Next is task inventories. So, inventory is a list comprising of tasks and a detailed description of each task. If each organization does it, it helps a lot in job analysis. And then checklists. Now, there are some experts who have developed some checklists for various jobs. So, say for example, a teacher job you require these 10 qualities, for a watchman you require these 5 qualities, for a cook you require these 7 qualities, like this. There are some standard checklists, that is also another method. And then one more thing is observation. Observation is keenly looking at what some of us are gifted with keen sense of observation. I have seen some people, they see things for 5 minutes and they can talk about 30 minutes about the same thing what he has seen. There are such people, but there are such people whole day they spend on a job, but if you ask them to summarize what they are doing, they struggle to even speak for 5 minutes. So, it is a question of differences in observation. And lastly, the incumbent work logs. In many jobs, there are log books where a person has to start when he has started, note the time, what he has done, when he is exiting, what are the things, and these things also serve as a method of understanding the job or job analysis. There are now coming to the process. Let me say that job analysis is not a single step thing, just you do one thing, it is done. So, there are so many things together, they form what is known as job analysis. At least 6 of them we can say as parts of the job analysis. If you go through these 6 steps, you say that you have completed job analysis. First is determine the purpose of conducting job analysis. Why are you doing it? Is it to increase compensation, reduce it, or is it to fix the training needs, or to promote a person? So, the purpose should be clear, the first thing. Second is identify the jobs to be analyzed. You decide which jobs you have to do it, and review of relevant data, plan and execute job analysis, write the job description. I think one of the final points in job analysis is job description. It is sometimes even more technical words is called job design. So, the purpose of job analysis is to design a job, like designing a building. And finally, the last point in job analysis is periodical review. Periodical review means you analyze the job, do something, but finally, a fixed way of doing it might not help, therefore, you have to do it. Now, let me say that job analysis covers duties, tasks, environment, tools, equipment, relationships and requirements. And now, we come to the second important aspect of this lecture, job design. As I said, job design is the end point of the job analysis, and it refers to the way that a set of tasks or an entire job is organized. So, how exactly you organize a job is known as job design. It is something like designing a building, designing a house, you have to design jobs also. There is a merit in doing this. If you do it systematically, job will be well done. Job design aims to design work duties specifically for each employee. Now, the purpose of this is as I said, the behavioral qualities differ. Even there are 2 clerks, there are 2 watchmen. I think the way a person has to perform cannot be standardized in the sense that the behavioral or physical qualities of 2 individual persons may be different. So, therefore, it is to be done. And the job design is very important, not only for the purposes of organization to achieve higher level of productivity, it is also important to ensure the safety and well-being of the employees. So, if the jobs are perfectly designed, the employee comfort also can be enhanced. Now, we come to the way job design has to be performed. There are some techniques of job design. These are known as work simplification, job rotation, job enlargement and job enrichment. Work simplification is nothing but removing the unnecessary parts of the work. Sometimes by combining two tasks you can simplify, sometimes you need to eliminate, sometimes you have to resequence, doing a very tougher job first and lighter job next if they are not aligned together. So, it may be problematic, you do the easy thing and harder thing later. So, like this there are some sequences, this is what is known as job simplification. Job rotation is a job should be such that a person should move from one seat to another, because doing the same thing, overdoing the same thing over a period of time leads to monotony and boredom. We do not feel like eating biryani every day. So, there should be some variety also. This job rotation means that job enlargement is giving some interesting parts of work to the job. And finally, job enrichment. Enrichment is the way in which an employee feels that his job is very important, is performing a very worthy job. Now, just to summarize what job design is, we can say that there are 4 sets of factors that are important in designing jobs. The first is organizational factors, how a job should fit into the organization. The second is environmental factors or surrounding factors, and thirdly the behavioral factors. Now, we finally come to the important tasks of job design or strategies. They are also called as strategies of job design. They are once again they develop as the strategies or techniques also we use the word. One is job rotation. If you want to create an interesting job, a job in which you are able to put your heart and soul, there should be some rotatability in that. It should not be so monotonous that the person should be 365 days all his life is doing that. So, this is first aspect of it. You have to create interesting jobs, productive jobs is to ensure some rotatability. Second is job enlargement. Job enlargement means giving jobs which are tasks which are so different. It is giving additional activities. Job enlargement also means a lower level fellow getting higher level responsibility. If higher level responsibility, even if it is onerous, it is very difficult, he feels happy because the boss trusted him or he has an opportunity to perform superior job. So, this is one more way in which jobs can be made interesting by creating suitable jobs. And then job enrichment. Job enrichment is making the job richer, in the sense more interesting and more lovable. And finally, job simplification. Well, friends, these are all the different strategies of job design. We come to the final wrapping up. In this class lecture, we have tried to understand 3 things. Firstly, the job, which is the building block of human resource management. Number 2, how to analyze the jobs, how to understand the jobs, how to go at how to do the anatomy of the job. And finally, how to design jobs, how to create interesting jobs, so that the performance of the organizations can enhance. So, thank you very much.